My friends, this is yet another sign of the troubling trajectory of the Republican Party into full-bore fascism. By my count, this is the third Republican senator, major Republican senator, who is refusing to commit to accepting the results of the upcoming election as part of an audition to be Donald Trump's vice president. First, you had Tim Scott from South Carolina, J.D. Vance of Ohio, and now Marco Rubio of Florida. So we're going to play this clip and unpack it together.
Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter what happens, Senator?
No matter what happens? No, if it's an unfair election, I think it's going to be contested by either side.
Senator, no matter who wins.
I think you're asking the wrong person. The Democrats are the ones that have opposed every Republican victory since 2000. Every single one. It's Hillary Clinton.
No Democrat has refused to concede. Hillary Clinton conceded. Senator, will you accept the election results?
Hillary Clinton said the election was stolen from her and that Trump was illegitimate. Kamala Harris agreed.
Senator,
we have Democrats now.
Senator, she conceded the election. She said that Trump was illegitimate. She said that the election had been stolen. Kamala Harris agreed. By the way, there are Democrats serving in Congress today who in 2004 voted not to certify the Ohio electors because they said those machines have been tampered with. And you have Democrats now saying they won't certify 2024 because Trump is an insurrectionist and ineligible to hold office. So you need to ask them. I think you've had have you ever asked the Democrat this question on your show? I bet you've never asked the Democrat that question. Senator, you voted to certify the 2020 election, and here is what you said on that day that you voted to certify the 2020 election.
Yeah. Democracy is held together by people's confidence in the election and their willingness to abide by its results.
So by your own definition, are Donald Trump's claims undermining Americans' confidence in democracy, given that he has not conceded the last election, and he just said in recent days twice that he won Minnesota, Senator?
I think what undermines people's confidence in the election is when you have places like Wisconsin with over 500 illegal drop box locations, when you have places like Georgia where liberal groups are paying people $10 per vote. No, but listen, what undermines elections is when NBC News and every major news outlet in America in 2020 censored the Biden laptop story, which turned out to be true, not Russian misinformation, unprecedented. Only you couldn't even talk about it on social media. They would deplatform you. People look at all this. They look at what happened in Arizona, 200,000 ballots that had the signatures didn't match. People will lose confidence, and it opens the door to this.
I have to jump in here. Senator, you voted to certify the election, and
because at that stage in the process, you have no options.
Senator, you voted to certify the election. Nothing has been censored on this program. Hillary Clinton.
And Hillary Clinton conceded, which is a great segue here. So again, I mean, she just hoisted Marco Rubio by his own petard here. He didn't say on January 6th, listen, I think this election is illegitimate, but I have no choice to certify it. That's not what he did. Marco Rubio, as cowardly as he was then, is nowhere near as cowardly as he is now. He did the right thing by certifying President Biden's victory. He could have joined the 147 other lawmakers after the insurrection who continued to not certify the results of President Biden's victory. More on that in a second. But I want to remind everybody, because Marco Rubio is doing what many other Republicans do when they can't defend Trump. They attempt desperately to deflect to Hillary Clinton. This is what Hillary Clinton said within hours of Donald Trump's victory in November 2016.
Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country. I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans.
She did that formally. She did it publicly. She did it within hours of her defeat. Donald Trump never did anything like that. He never formally or publicly conceded the 2020 election to President Biden. Instead, unlike Hillary Clinton, he attempted to sue his way into a second term unelected. He lost 60 out of 61 court cases, both on standing and on merit. He disgraced himself even in front of conservative judges, Trump-appointed conservative judges. That's how ludicrous and ridiculous this case was. A 6-3 conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court refused to take up any of the cases. That's how ridiculous it was. Every election recount and audit has only reaffirmed the results of President Biden's victory. And he also, of course, attempted to trigger an insurrection. On January 6th, Barack Obama, who was the incumbent Democrat president, who was backing Hillary Clinton against Trump. Barack Obama didn't do that. Joe Biden, the current president, was the vice president when Donald Trump won the 2016 election. He didn't try to throw out votes that he didn't like. which is exactly what then President Trump tried to do with then Vice President Mike Pence. You see that? If Donald Trump's logic is true, if Donald Trump's, assessment of the constitutional powers and prerogatives afforded to the incumbent administration, the vice president, to just basically overturn the results of the election, if that's the case, then why didn't Hillary Clinton, President Obama, Vice President Biden just say, no, we're not going to accept the results. We toss out the votes we don't like? Because Democrats are infinitely more principled than Republicans. That's simply an objective fact. So Marco Rubio says, there were people who voted against or tried to vote against certifying the results of President Bush in 2004. You're right. Many of those things were ridiculous. But those were a handful of attempts which never came through. 147, on the other hand, Republicans issued formal objections to President Biden's victory. 147. We're talking orders of magnitude more in terms of volume than the handful of Democrats along the way who objected to George W. Bush's victory in 2000, which made much more sense given that margin was settled by like 500 votes in Florida, and a sympathetic right-wing Supreme Court in 2000 effectively ended the recount process. There's infinitely greater reason for Democrats to issue a symbolic objection to Bush in 2000, and yet nothing on the scale that we've seen here.